Did you know, we now offer channel memberships? You can also leave a tip. Your support is vital to the growth of this channel. Please be sure to like, comment and subscribe. Thank you and enjoy the video.
The quest for lost media is ongoing and ever-present. Across the world and web, people search tirelessly for pieces of nostalgia lost to time. But while everyone and their brother searches for well-known pieces like Saki Sorno Bashi, Slamfest 99 and lost episodes of Doctor Who, there are thousands of other pieces still waiting to be found that no one is looking for. These are those pieces. This is lesser-known lost media.
Welcome back to the channel, everybody. It is time for everybody's favorite series on Chimera Miniatures, lesser-known lost media. For those of you new to the channel, this is the show where I talk about 5 pieces of lost media that you just don't hear about on the other YouTube lost media channels all that often. How it goes is I start with 4 family-friendly pieces of lost media, take a quick ad break, and then we get into a 5th and final not safe for work piece. This is volume 26, so again, if you are new, you have 25 other episodes to catch up on, but don't worry, they can be watched in any order. Let's get started. At number 1, we have the Addams Family Funhouse, a lost, unsold ABC pilot from 1973. Now, most of you probably know what the Addams Family is. Whether you read the original New Yorker comic strips, watched the old black and white TV series, watched my personal favorite, the Addams Family movie and the Addams Family Values, or perhaps the later animated series, animated movies, TV made-for-TV movies, or if you just recently found out about them because of Wednesday, the Addams Family is an institution of pop culture. As such, ever since the original black and white TV show caused them to take off, there have been many attempts to recapture that lightning in the bottle, some with more success than others. One of these attempts, the Addams Family Funhouse, is a 1973 unsold pilot that was aired on various channels during the 1973 and 1974 television season. It was a variety series and included musical numbers as well as skits. One blogger remembers a dance party sequence that he states are similar to a laugh-in sequence. He also states that the dancing is interrupted for one-liners. All that is surfaced of this pilot, however, is a single publicity photo published in Castle of Frankenstein magazine, issue 21. We do also know the cast list. It was Jackie Riley as Gomez Addams, Liz Torres as Morticia Addams, Butch Patrick as Pugsley Adam, you might know Butch Patrick as Eddie Munster, the original, Stubby K as Fester Adams, Noel Von Son as Wednesday Adams, Felix Silla as Cousin It, Pat McCormick as Lurch, and Jim Neighbors as himself. And you might recognize that name too, because that's Gomer Pyle. Now, honestly, just looking at this publicity photo, you can kind of see why this one never took off. This does not look like the Addams Family. This looks like some dollar store overseas knockoff of the Addams Family rather than the Addams Family we all know and love. So while it would be fun to have another piece of Addams Family content available to us, I'm not surprised this one kind of fell through the cracks. At number 2, we have 911 Entertainment, partially lost enhanced CD videos and material from the multimedia company from 1997 to 1998. So, 911 Entertainment was an independent multimedia record distribution company that operated from the late summer of 1996 to early 1999 in the San Francisco Bay Area. They were well known for operating their own website, which contained Our Tribe, a website that displayed lots of multimedia entertainment, which included an interactive community, the Worldwide Internet Music Archive for an online tour guide to live music, Warped World for punk rock, Vans Warped Tour and extreme sports, and Big Top Tour, which focused on electronic music. Over at the music side, the company had 3 music labels, 911 Records, Long Arm Records, and 4DAT. 911 Records, which focused heavily on the alternative rock scene, signed bands like Marshall Coleman, Crushed, Stickman, Ultra Horse, and plenty of others around the time frame the company opened its doors in 1996. Now, as for the lost media part of this, the year after the company's global launch and their website debut, they created websites for bands that they signed. The websites would include tour dates, interviews, audio and video files, biographies, and photo galleries for the flagship brands. Sadly, the only remaining material available are music videos from 3 bands, Marshall Coleman, Crushed, and Shelley Streeter. They are available on YouTube and the Internet Archive. The other material that contained everything from 911 Entertainment's websites remains lost to this day. Any attempts to get any files from the main website around early 1997 have failed, as the video files and other material would be in an RPM or RAM, real audio media format, which unfortunately, if downloaded, it would display an error message stating that the file is corrupted. Once entered on the company's main website around that time frame, it would automatically download an RPM file from one of Marshall Coleman's materials. The site also contained a 24-hour live feed of interviews, music videos, animations, and eye candy. While bits and pieces of this have surfaced over the years, there is still a ton that has not surfaced in over 2 decades. I think this is interesting because, back in the 90s and even early 2000s, there was so many interactive websites that were such a big deal. One interactive website that always comes to mind when I think of this stuff is whenever a new Grand Theft Auto game would come out, is they would have these interactive websites that would constantly update, giving you a little bit more information about the game. And stuff like that, they don't do it much anymore, but it's kind of interesting to think that, I did not know about 911 Entertainment back in the day, but thinking that there are probably a lot of fans who would go to this site almost daily, and just knowing that all of that stuff that they enjoyed is gone is definitely, I think that kind of lost media is very interesting, and that hopefully somebody, even in the early stages of the internet, found a way to document it and thought to document it, and maybe someday we'll see all this stuff. Alright guys, at number 3 we have our fan submitted entry. Today's fan submission comes from Simon John 2750 and is Tiffany Blake, a lost DiC animated series, existence unconfirmed, from 1987. So Tiffany Blake is a rumored lost animated series that was known to be developed by animation company DiC for 1987 in partnership with KKC&D Asia. There is not much information on the series besides online searches for the title would return info on a pornographic actress by the same name. So I guess careful when you research this one if you're trying to find it. The series was first described in a December 1986 LA Times news article, later re-released in the February 1st, 1987 issue of the Milwaukee Journal with the title Rich Role Models, about DiC's fall 1987 animated TV package. A 1986 article describes the show as an action-adventure series that follows the lives of the internationally acclaimed high fashion model Tiffany Blake and her double agent friends. The title character was described as a female James Bond character who uses her day job as a glamorous fashion model as a cover for her daring espionage activity. She also has double secret agent friends called Cretin and Natasha. The show was to be part of DiC's Fall 87 package, which also included Beverly Hills Teens and STARCOM, the U.S. Space Forces. The STARCOM, the U.S. Space Force. Both series are known to fully exist. The producers of the series were looking to provide wholesome role models for kids. Rich Colbert, who was president of Access Syndicate, which ceased to exist by 1988, described the Tiffany Blake spy model character as no bimbo. As to whether this is available somewhere, well, it's quite likely that Tiffany Blake may never have made it to final production and/or release. No screenshots or footage from the series have been released online. Only a promotional art poster seems to be available. However, Japanese studio Mook Animation is reported to have worked on a Tiffany Blake promotional film, which was listed on their website, so maybe there is at least something of this out there. I mean, between the 80s, 90s, early 2000s, just the sheer amount of flash-in-the-pan cartoons that we got, I wonder how many more that we never even got to hear about before they were quietly canceled. I mean, I bet there are hundreds of cartoons that maybe didn't even make it past the pitch stage. Coming in at number 4, we have the untitled Donkey Kong game, a lost build of a cancelled SNES CD and CDI platformer whose existence is unconfirmed, circa 1992 to 1993. So yeah, you've probably heard about Donkey Kong. Published by Nintendo in 1981, Donkey Kong is one of the most iconic video games of all time. It was the first appearance of the company's mascot Mario, launched the long-running Donkey Kong series, and was their first commercial hit in North America, launching Nintendo into a massive video game company they still are to this day. Due to the iconicity and legacy of the game, it had 3 direct sequels over the years, those being Donkey Kong Jr., Donkey Kong 3, and Donkey Kong for the Game Boy, alternatively known as Donkey Kong 94. Before the Game Boy games released, there were murmurings of a sequel for the Super NES CD-ROM system and the Philips CDI. Rumors of this sequel first appeared in Gaming Gossip section of Electronic Gaming Monthly issue 31 in November 1992. According to the anonymous writer of the newsletter, Quarterman, the game would be a 16-bit remake of the Donkey Kong arcade game for the SNES, which would mark Mario's return to his role as the protagonist of the series, as well as feature improved graphics and new scenes, and would release sometime in 1992. Now, over 1 year later, in issue 47 on June 1993, Quarterman would amend this statement, saying that the game was a sequel and would release on the Nintendo's ill-fated SNES peripheral, the SNES CD, as well as the console, the Philips CDI. If these rumors were true, the game would likely be developed as two separate versions, one for the SNES CD and one for the CDI due to their hardware differences. According to former Electronic Gaming Monthly editors, Quarterman's newsletter was a mix of legitimate rumors, wishful thinking, and complete fabrications, leaving the validity of these rumors up in the air. Lending credence to the game's existence, however, is a LinkedIn profile for one Adrian Jackson Jones. The profile claims that he worked at RSP as their Super Nintendo and CDI programmer, with one of the games he worked on being Donkey Kong for the CDI, with him specifically working on designing and implementing the game's engine. Donkey Kong also appeared in a CDI print ad alongside Mario, Link, and Zelda, despite not appearing in any games released for that console. It is speculated this title could be correlated to Super Donkey, a found prototype that was released during the Nintendo Giga Leak of July 2020. From what is inferred in the leaked data, Super Donkey was being developed during 1990 and 1992, around the same time Quarterman claimed there was a new SNES Donkey Kong. It is possible it could be the SNES Donkey Kong game Quarterman was referring to being moved to the SNES CD and Philips CDI before its cancellation. It seems to be a big thing nowadays that you're going to re-release or remaster a game. Like, I know at the time I'm recording this, Super Mario RPG was just remade for the Nintendo Switch. I've not played it yet, but I do intend to. I could just go out right now and buy it, but I'm in this weird period of time where, so essentially from September through February of every year, I'm in what I like to call the slog, which is where all of my family and loved ones' birthdays fall in that time, as well as Christmas and Valentine's Day and all that. But the fun part is that from December through March, it does benefit me a little bit because I got Christmas. I've got, well, technically now it kind of starts in October now that I'm married because my anniversary is in October, so I'll get a gift then. Christmas, Valentine's Day, and then my birthday in March. So I tend not to buy myself anything in that period of time because it just makes it easier for people to buy me a gift. So, you know, I'm hoping at some point between now and March somebody buys me that, but not the point. The point is that we think that this is like a recent thing, kind of like how Disney's remaking all their movies in quote-unquote live action, but remakes and ports are not new. They have been around since video games have been around, and it's not... I definitely believe that at some point they were like, yeah, let's bring Donkey Kong to the SNES and the new CD systems, and it didn't work out, but I completely believe that at least some kind of prototype build, even just promotional materials or pitch ideas, some work was done on this game. I completely believe that it was real, and maybe we will see more of it in the future. Alright guys, now we're in that time where we do the ad break in between the safe for work and not safe for work lost media. If you've been with us before, you know this already. If you're new, this channel was created as a way for me to pitch my business, Chimera Miniatures. You know, I make entertaining videos, and then I tell you, hey, maybe click the links, maybe go buy a miniature. That's right, I make custom miniatures. My two specialties are custom kit bashes, which is where I take bits and pieces from other miniatures, cobble them together into something one of a kind and completely unique. And the other thing, my best seller on all my miniatures are not safe for work repainted hero clicks. Hero clicks, of course, being tiny figurines of a game that you get to pit Marvel and DC characters as well as characters from other properties against each other in combat. And what I like to do is I take certain buxom characters and repaint them to be sans clothing. So now not only is Starfire from Teen Titans duking it out against Spiral from the X-Men comics, now they can battle without their tops on, sometimes without their bottoms. With the holidays coming up, these not safe for work miniatures are the perfect gift for the naughty nerd in your life, and I highly recommend clicking the links and checking out. I sell these on eBay, Etsy, and Mercari. And if you know a nerd that's slightly less naughty, maybe check out my kit bashes. It would be really cool for them to open up on Christmas Day a miniature that literally nobody else on the planet is going to have the same miniature. That it's going to be one of a kind, completely unique gift for that nerd in your life that you just don't know what to get them. If they're a minis fan, I guarantee they will love a gift from Chimera Miniatures. So please consider throwing some business my way this holiday season. I know there's a big push to support small businesses. Well, I am a very small business, so please do consider me during your holiday shopping. And with that being said, let's get to today's final piece of lesser known lost media. And at number 5, we have Happy Days. No, not that Happy Days. No, these Happy Days are lost, unreleased, fabricated pornographic films of an Indonesian president. Existence is unconfirmed, circa 1960s. So in the 1960s, the first president of Indonesia, Sukarno, also known as Sukarno due to some spelling mistake, well, he was the first president of Indonesia, and the CIA was trying to overthrow him because of his closeness to the Soviet Union. So both the CIA and the Soviet KGB had discontented and vexed feelings towards this guy because of his behavior, governance, and his attitude. It wasn't pleasing to either the West or the Soviets, even though apparently a huge majority of Indonesians being communists at the time, the Soviets and Sukarno, still in various degrees, didn't see eye to eye with each other, because it wasn't enough to just be a communist. For Russia to like you, you had to be a Soviet communist. So the KGB had tried to, get on his good side, get him to join their Soviet alliance, but all these attempts failed. So this would cause the Soviet KGB to plan to blackmail him by making and fabricating pornographic films starring him, all due to him not wanting to side with the Soviet Union. The KGB blackmailed him by filming him with a flight attendant during his visit to Moscow in 1960 to discredit his image in front of the Indonesians and foment a revolt. When the Russians confronted him about the sex tape, he asked to watch it and was surprisingly pleased with the tape. He even asked for additional copies of the sex tape and to show it back in his country. I mean, hey, this guy must have had some moves, I guess. Now, when the CIA heard that the Russians were trying to bring him down with pornographic films, they also went ahead and made pornographic films of him. The CIA manipulated photos of Sukarno and a Soviet flight attendant to tarnish his image. The idea that for the pornographic video came from a flight attendant who boarded a plane with him on his way to the Soviet Union. The CIA reported that Sukarno was involved in a scandal with a flight attendant who was an intelligence agent. They eventually produced their own pornographic film, paying actors with face masks similar to Sukarno, who were imported from Indonesia. What the fuck? So apparently the film was made for the CIA by former FBI agents Robert Mayhew and Howard Hughes. I don't think that's the Howard Hughes from The Aviator. But while Mayhew had no experience with any making of pornographic films or filmography, he apparently knew an actor named Chuck Case that resembled but was not identical to Sukarno, and that with help from a makeup artist, Bing Cosby, this actor was set to play him in the film. It's rumored that while the film was never released, it is reported that images of the film have resurfaced in numerous publications from the 70s, though it remains unclear. Also, it supposedly would have been called Happy Days, but that's not entirely confirmed either. And apparently, ultimately, the whole reason this was not used to blackmail him is because they did show it to a couple people, and the Indonesian response was actually very positive. They're like, hey, yeah, President, get you some. And it wouldn't have had a negative effect on his reputation. And so apparently everything I just told you is can put a big allegedly on it, because Sukarno was ousted from the presidency in 1967 and passed away 3 years later on June 1st of 1970. And while there has been a lot of talk about these films, none of the information about them has ever been confirmed. I think it's hilarious how far we have come as a world where, back in the day, a video of two people who aren't married having consensual sex could be considered career-ending. And nowadays it's like, look, as long as both parties are consenting, who cares? We have come a long way from the prudes we were back in the 50s and 60s. I also love the idea of a world leader being blackmailed by America and the Soviets during the Cold War, and they're like, hey, if you don't, Russia comes and goes, hey, if you don't do what we say, we'll release this tape of you having sex with a flight attendant. And he's like, please do. Please do. I want everyone to see how awesome I am. And then the US, who knows what they knew? I mean, I'm sure they knew all of that if it was true. They had spies everywhere. But they were like, oh, well, we'll make a fake tape of him having sex with a flight attendant. And it's like, wait, you can't eat... What? Apparently this guy... No. I just think it's hilarious that the US was like... They looked at what the KGB had done and failed at doing and went, hey, we're going to do this, but we're going to do it worse. I don't know. The Cold War was a crazy time. I mean, they literally thought they could design a bomb that would make all the soldiers super gay balls for each other. So, they were just trying everything, and they were throwing science and espionage at a wall and seeing what stuck. And that's going to be today's video, guys. I do hope you enjoyed it. I hope you come back for all our future videos. Again, if you're new to the channel, please go watch the other 25 episodes of this series. And if you want to be my absolute best friend, please do go check the links, take a look at the minis, maybe buy one. I do intend on releasing new ones throughout the holiday season. If you'd like to be just my bestest buddy in the whole world, do consider joining one of my Patreon tiers, or possibly buying a channel membership, or leaving a super thanks. It really does help. Again, as always, if you want to just be the best help to me possible, please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Share the video around. The more people that see these videos, the more minis I can potentially sell, and the more videos I can potentially make. And until next time, everybody, I'm Mr. Sean, this is Chimera Miniatures, and I sincerely hope that you alpha great day and an even beta tomorrow. Bye-bye! And like I say every week, big thank you to all my members and patrons. Right now, that is, of course, J-Dog and Arthur D. Gonzalez Martin. Thank you both for your continued channel support.